theory, I am on a live chat right now, although I have had this not work to my liking. So, folks, just a few quick thoughts. This has been a super busy day. It's going to be a really freaking busy week for me. God, it's 4:30 already. I'm usually do my live streams way early. Not today. Not today, boys and girls. Although I knocked out a paper in 3 hours the other day and got a 98 on it, so I still got my talent for writing papers and wordsmithing stuff. Um, I wanted to talk about, hey, what's up, Devil Dog? What a tiger! I caught alive. Um, Wanted to talk about what happened to AOC last week. I've been kind of rolling it around, and I actually got to watch the footage. Hey, Leslie, welcome. And Alexandra, what is going on? Be safe for work, lady. Um, so so Mayor Adams, he kind of inherited New York from de Blasio and all that mess. And he tried to keep that going. It's good to see you too, Leslie. Hey, Water Tiger. I appreciate you guys. Don't get in trouble at work. I absolutely get it if you can't stay on my live stream. Um, I actually got scolded by another creator, who I won't name, because they sent me a link to a live stream in the middle of the workday, and I was negotiating a multi-million dollar contract. And obviously, I couldn't be gone cash. I already fed you. You're just being a pest. Go over there. And Said individual, I didn't see the text until like 7 o'clock at night, and I replied, "Hey, I'll catch it on the replay. I'll share it out." You know what I usually do if I miss a live stream. Person got pissed. Well, you don't care about freedom, and you may as well just not fucking watch. And I was like, "Holy shit! Okay," and I will no longer collaborate with you. So that was unfortunate. But uh, on the one hand, I think people are so stressed out, they're not acting civilized anymore. And the AOC got an earful of it the other day. So anyway, to my point, I'm never going to be upset if you're at work and you got to bail, just bail. We all got to make a living, and I 100% get that. Um, hey, the dude, what's going on? Alex, I just loaded $1 million, load and chilling on the system. There you go. Um, but AOC, speaking of people getting pissed off, AOC absolutely got eaten up. So Mayor Adams was trying to do this whole sanctuary thing. And Texas is like, well, why do we have to have, hey, Dan Phillips, why do we have to have all the fun down here? They want to go to Chicago, we'll ship them to Chicago. We'll send them to LA, wherever you want them to go. Good deal, man. And making dinner for the family, muy bueno. And now that there's a pile of people there, and Mayor Hochul has called up the National Guard to help the city, and they clearly are now feeling the pain that Texas and Arizona and New Mexico have been feeling, right? Hey, Cassandra. And, we need to do this in a coherent way, right? During the 1800s, immigrants came to Ellis Island or to San Francisco, and there was a place everyone went. And you went there and you signed your name and you got fingerprinted or whatever, and you were in quarantine, you got your shots. And then after about whatever period of time, you went into the public, and it came with its own problems, right? But it was somewhat coherent. This is not coherent. And hey, Bug Out, what's going on? FAOC. FAOC. That would be a great t-shirt, Dan. Um, I got to convince Sassy to make me a t-shirt with that. And what's sad, most of my buddies would get it after they read it a few times and be like, oh, I see what you did. So anyway, Mayor Adams says, you know what, this isn't working. He's a former cop. He's not stupid. He may be politically motivated, but he's not an idiot. He's like, this is going to destroy the city on my watch. Not acceptable. So he's like, he's pulling the plug. He's like, nope, we got to do something different. This is what we're doing. And AOC decided to fight with Mayor Adams. So she went to make a speech. So she went from her, you know, $3,000 a month little apartment, hey, Gil Homestead, and went to New York City to tell the people of New York that, we're going to be compassionate and you just have to have compassion. She was actually browbeating the citizens. Hey, Red Dog. And they lost their shit. And it wasn't like, random one dude where she would be like, oh, well, at first it started with what sounded like an Italian guy. And he's like, this is blah, blah, blah. And he just went off. And then the cops were like, hey, you calm down, man. And then there was a Jamaican guy went out and got after it. Dude, I had shit day. Mom's on my case. Oh boy. Joe's having a day. Sorry, man. That sucks, brother. I'm sorry to hear that. But and these folks just everyone. She got a yeah. She's driving her Tesla. Oh, she's not housing any, and that's what people were saying. They're saying we don't have money for the YMCA. We don't have money for our kids' school. We don't have money for enough cops to do the right job. But you're giving these guys Xboxes and PlayStations. They're trashing the hotels. The hotels are saying, if you don't take them out of here, we're shutting the hotel down. And how many maids and cooks and all the other working people in New York, these folks who pay taxes, are going to suffer because the hotel shuts down, right? That's like 100 employees right there. So basically, the mayor's like, "Mm, I tried it. How long's Mayor Adams been in office? Like 8 months, a year?" And he's like, this is awful. This is not sustainable. This is stupid. It's stupid for us. It's stupid for. And then he said, well, we'll send them where they belong to Texas. Texas is like they're not from here anyway, so we're going to send them back to somewhere else. Uh, Chicago's about to call the National Guard because they're like, this is retarded. This doesn't work. Right now, all the regions, all remember, I kept saying the grassroots. The last few lives, the grassroots is going to rebel. Now it's coming from both sides. They're like, hey, this is not working. And I heard rumors Mayor Adams was about to sue Mayorkas, the homeland, what's his face, because he's an idiot, and to get them out of New York City, which actually is not a half bad idea. Like they're that pissed. There's a Democratic DA who just sued the mayor of Sacramento and the city council for failing to do their job. She said, I swore an oath to protect the law, uphold the law, and make the citizenry safe, and you've overruled my people, so I'm suing you. The attorney general of a city is supposed to defend the city in cases of litigation, not turn around and sue the city council, which is exactly what she did, because she said, this doesn't work, this is bullshit, and people are getting attacked on the street. Um, San Diego calling for a state of emergency too, right? Um, No, no, and Joe, that's the point, is there used to be a time they all went to like Ellis Island, right? And when I grew up, it was a point of pride, like the old Jewish and Italian and Irish neighborhoods my friends came from. They'd be like, you know what, look, look, look. And they'd have this old, remember the instant photo where you'd go click and it would poop out the camera, the Instamatics? And he'd be like, look, look, we took a picture of my grandpa next to his grandpa's signature on the book, right? That was a point of pride that you could say, my family came in at Ellis Island. My family came in at um, San Francisco, or my dad signed the citizenship papers in Dallas when they had the big, uh, migration, citizenship effort. Hey, Cold War. Hey, Daryl. What's up, Red Dog? Yeah, come in lawfully. And I find it funny because you hear all this media talk like, no, 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 you guys are being unfair. And then my Uber drivers, both immigrants, both from Cuba. And like I said, I've never been lectured. So I've never heard the words socialista so many times in a 15-minute Uber drive as I did with this Cuban guy who's like, this man in the White House is socialista and is stupid because the Obama, he didn't like Obama either, and the Obama, and no, because Castro is not good, and now we have this other person, and holy cow, I couldn't even keep up with him, and he was speaking Spanglish, and I'd been drinking, and I couldn't translate fast enough back and forth. Um, God, I should lay off the bourbon when I try and speak English or Spanish interchangeably because that messes me up. And people are pissed. And like AOC, every time she opened her mouth, the people were on her shit. They were like shouting her down. And you could see the cops were like, one cop went up to one of the guys, was hey, my mother's sport, was really upset. Hey, dudes, what's going on? Have paperwork from my maternal grandfather's father from Ireland. Took him 7 years to get citizenship. Yeah, and that was a point of pride. I went to Ellis Island. I got my shots. I signed the big book, and now my great grandchildren can see the book. And oh, you can have that, Joe. Yuck. Not that one. Hey, Daryl. And but I'll tell you what, it's the people are pissed, and it wasn't like, they like to, like, oh, this white guy said no. They were black folks, white folks, Spanish folks. They were all pissed, and the cops, they're yelling, and like AOC's helper or whatever, that minion she has that looks like a doofus, was like poking the cops, like, go say something to that person. And the cops were like, had no interest. They were just like, hey, just settle down, man. And you could see it in the cop's face. He's just like, man, just chill. We feel you. I'm there. And you could see even one of the cops is like, look, he's doing this. I couldn't hear what he was saying, but he's like doing this, and like, and the other guy's like, but, and the cops put his hands on his shoulder, like, I know, man, like, they're all on the same page. They're just tolerating her. And it was so refreshing. And then one guy just goes in front of the cameras, and he's arm in arm with two other guys. One was a cabbie, and he said he was from Nigeria. And then the Italian guy kept coming up because he was really loud, and this other guy, and he's like, we're from different places, and but this guy's my neighbor. Nobody's gonna come to save us. Nobody's coming to help us. Our elected officials have betrayed the working people. And he had that accent, the working people. And no, we got to stand together. It ain't a color thing. It's a, you know, and the guy next to him is nodding and says, yeah, we need to work together. And I'm like, hell yeah. But he said it several times in front of the camera. He said, nobody's coming. Hey, Michelle, and anyone I missed in the chat, uh, they said nobody's coming to help us. And that was the other thing that really stood out at that time, was those folks were like, no one's coming to help us. No one cares if the people don't raise a fuss. No one's gonna. Hey, Nanya. Hey, Red Leg. Sorry, I missed you there. Um, Q will save the world. Oops. And the realization that they just had to make a bunch of noise, and the people, I mean, they were in droves. There was no one cheering her on. Like, the camera spun around, and all of them are like yelling. One was throwing popcorn. I mean, the cops were like, stop throwing pop. Like, you could see these cops are like, I don't want to riot today. My shift's almost over. You could tell it was the afternoon. The cops were like, my shift's almost over. I don't want to arrest nobody. It's going to cost me 2 hours. I want to go home to my kids. Like, they're done. And the folks that, to be fair, they were well behaved, but they were loud and they were pissed. And you can tell they were pissed. And I'm like, good, good. It's about time. And we've got people in Texas, El Paso. They had there's an old Spanish guy, and it was an older guy, like older guy. He had a Vietnam veteran's hat, and he's with his grandson, who's probably 20, and they're out there with double barrel shotguns in their yard. And the camera guy comes by, he goes, hey, what's going on? Hey, Fallen Sky. Hey, KY, Kentucky Survival, what's up? Hey, Misfit. Ooh, you guys came in quick on me here. Suburban, hello. Canadian, hello. And Double Dog. I find there many people like AOC who hate cops and call for them to be defunded. I promise you, her security team isn't defunded. And the reporter asked this old man. She said, "Why are you in your driveway with the 12 gauge?" And he said, "Because these guys, they came in." And she's like, and he's so funny because it was a Spanish guy. He goes, "They're not Mexican." And I spoke Spanish to them, and they looked at me, and they kept digging. They clearly didn't understand Spanish. Um, no, I don't know where they're coming from, but they're not from Texas, and they're not from Mexico, and I don't want them in my yard. Out there with these Elmer Fudd looking goose guns, man. They were going to pellet somebody. And he's like, no, we're going to defend our homes. That's enough. That's enough. And the people are pissed. And it's good that they're getting pissed because enough of this, right? How many cops got to get shot? How many? And like I said last week, I saw this video footage and I was going to share it. And then I got too heartbroken. I couldn't share it. It was a group of young ladies, maybe in their early 20s, late teens. They're in a group. They look worn out, like they're tired, they're dirty. And there's like a nurse or someone with a mask and taking, I guess they're health questionnaires. And the reporter comes and says, how are you doing? And then they look kind of confused. So he says it in Spanish. He's bilingual. He goes, ¿Cómo están ustedes? Y te han tratado bien? And they're like, yeah, she was saying the nurse has been nice and they had coffee. You could tell these people looked like they walked across another country to get here. Like they were legit exhausted. And hey, VB, what's going on? And no worries, MMS. And he asked, he said, have you been given something to eat? She said yes. And the girls had their little documents, they had their paperwork. And yeah, absolutely, Red Dog. Well, there's something demonic about it. I think we have Legion in Congress. If you want to make a demonic reference, I'm sure those of you who follow or understand that know what I'm talking about. Hey, Virginia Bushcrafter. And time I finish swearing, throwing stuff, Florida is going to wash my mouth out with soap. As long as it's not the soap from the Christmas Story, because I hear that tastes pretty bad. Hey, Wolfang. My son started his first day on the job being, I cut it off. Fallen Sky, can't see it. Being a chop yesterday. Fallen Sky cut off that last word, right? It's being a blank yesterday. Um, but anyway, shoot, be gone, cat. It's not dinner time yet. I already fed you. I'll feed you in a minute. He's being an ass. He's an old cat. He should be dead. Being a cop. See, okay. See, one of my sons is CID. So like, yeah. And to upload. Oh, okay, great. Wolfang, perfect timing. Go check out Wolfang's video later. And Joe, did you put a video this morning? I saw the notification, but I saw it like an hour ago for whatever reason. Um, but yeah, the people are pissed. They're tired, and these poor girls, they're in a row. They have their little folder, and and then he asked, "Have you, did they?" And she said, "Yes." The nurse talked to us, and they've given us coffee, and we had some lunch, and they were whoever was there was trying to help these girls out, and they were like three or four young women. And then the reporter says, were you treated okay on your trip here? And one of these girls got so sad. And then the other girl put her arm around her and mumbled something. And the first one nodded and she started crying. And she said, we're happy to be here. And I'm like, see, this is awful. Because you damn well know someone hurt one of those girls or more of them while they were on the way up here. The cartels are deliberately, from what one report said, having people all over the world flood the Border Patrol's little app, so people can't uh, request an appointment because it takes you a month to get one. So now they're just sneaking in because it's easier to do it that way. And when it's easier to sneak in, then now the Border Patrol's fighting that. And while they're chasing, whoever from wherever, in comes the fentanyl, in comes crack or whatever the hell else is coming in here. Hey Loretta, what's going on? Thanks for joining me. And it's hold on, I lost the chat there. And it's being done by design. The cartels are doing it for this because we've got an addiction crisis. And I could do a whole nother video on that and the parallels between what's happened in history and what's happening now. But you look at the aggregate, right? Hey Watchmen, you look at the entirety of what's happening. And what you're seeing is a large multitude of factors happening at once. We have a fentanyl crisis. We are emasculating men. We are emasculating females. We are creating a dislike of family, a distrust of government. We're allowing lawlessness. We're allowing unknown entities to enter and leave the country. Hey, love and life at whim. And you add all of that, and that almost is prime. I can upload and chat at the same time. Very cool. Wolfan, you could put your link once the video posts so everyone can jump at there. Hey, book club, yeah. Fentrac, a new mix of fentanyl and trank. I heard about that. Oh, and it turns so we went to Target the other day, and I usually see when I see like methies or fentanyls, people's they're like usually in the street somewhere doing the little, or they're just like, you know, there was one in Target in the line between me and a young woman, and this girl was like, she was all over. She was knocking candy off the shelf. So a register opened to the right, and she says, I'll take the next person. So I move over, and then I tell the young lady, why don't you come here? Because she was still waiting. So we left Drug Girl over there, and she was just flipping out all by herself. And then she started to talk to the cashier, and it was perfect English. And I'm like, that's really impressive. You are absolutely tweaking right now, and you're functional. But yeah, what was that? Follow what Spokane, Washington did to the mayor by censoring her last night, and that's exactly what Pete is explaining. Yeah, there's something very wrong. Hey, Independent. Um, hey, welcome back, my mother spark. It's just there's so many factors happening at once, and it goes back. I believe it was originally was it the Spanish American War or the Napoleonic War? A Cold War prepper would probably know this. Texas Red Leg may too. The first original reference to the fifth column. I can't remember if it was the Napoleonic Wars or the Spanish Civil War, where one commander was asked, well, you only have four columns. Do you think you can take this city? And he said, no, I have five. And the journalist or the writer said, but I only count four columns. And he said, because the fifth one's already in the country, already in the city. The old Trojan horse theory is Trank is actually an elephant tranquilizer, Joe, or something like that. But hey, in the wait, hold on. Practice like a functioning alcohol. They can see. Yeah, Penny Prepper, absolutely. Um, but yeah, Cold War. Let me know. I swear I can't remember if it was a Napoleonic reference or the Spanish Civil War. But okay, it wasn't elephants. It was equine. Yikes. It's not much better for people anyway. We don't know who's coming in. When you have the Honduran refugees going, hey, that guy is not speaking Spanish, and then the Border Patrol has to go figure out who they're referring to. Hey, Johnny, that's scary, guys. Um, there are a lot of factors going in, and the people in America are pissed. Now we're seeing it in Seattle, we're seeing it in New York City, we're seeing it in Texas, we're seeing it in Arizona. Um, my big fear is, again, 9/11, boots on the ground was 13 dudes, what, 11, 13 people plus, 4 or 5 who were running the money, logistics, providing cell phones, renting apartments. Under 20 people did that. Regardless of who funded them or who turned a blind eye, and that's a bigger picture. Less than 20 people. I promise you, we have more than 20 folks we need to be worried about in this country right now. And but it just feels like the country. Well, you know what, book club, and it does. You feel it's very frustrating and not smoke it, or you take a bath in it. Don't do drugs, kids. Wait, hold on. What was that? But if you do, be safe about it. Don't drug and drive. I don't know if that's a commercial thing. Um, that would just confuse the shit out of kids. What? Um, there's a lot happening, a lot going on, and we need to be paying attention to your local area because things that happen are going to happen at the local level. Um, how would I verbalize this? I'm trying to find the word. Normally, I don't have a problem doing this, but I'm exhausted today and I can't think right. Um, Watch for changes in your local environment. Like I said, I'm running into a lot of Cuban guys here, but I'm reaching out to them because I can speak both languages, and most of them are kind of aligned with us, which is good. And but I've seen a couple that I'm looking at them, I'm like, that's sus as shit. I will refer you guys to. So I think it was Alexandra the Great played a piece from Winter Soldier where Hydra. It shows where the Hydra scientists were brought into the country and basically created a whole regime under, and then started causing anyone who would resist to have accidents. I almost feel like that. And so it's concerning when you think about it that we have no idea who's in here. I do believe there are politicians who are 100% bought out. Not like, oh, I helped my buddy get a construction contract bought out. These people have drank the communist Kool-Aid somewhere. Um, I would watch movies like Colony, which is a series actually. Again, the alien invasion. Uh, the first thing that happens is the fifth column that was already here goes after anyone who'd be a problem. Civil rights organizers, politicians who may speak up, reporters, uh, FBI agents. If you get a chance, I don't remember if it's on Amazon or Netflix, watch Colony, even if you just watch the first 3 or 4 episodes. It'll blow your mind. Again, it's a fictional account, but it makes you wonder, like, at what point is something going to come apart? At what point is the possibility of a fifth column going to become a reality to all of us? And it's scary. Texas Red Leg. Need a captain's uniform and 2 guys with submachine guns following behind. Doing was told to amplify that a little bit, and the cops would have to run. Yeah, and it's scary because I'm pretty sure most cops see this. So local cops see it. Um, it's just concerning. We have a lot of people in the country right now, mixed in with a lot of people who are desperate. And I promise you, I bet some of them are not. They're up to no good. I looked at that video of those young women sitting at the border and they look exhausted. They clearly traveled. And then I see another video of a bunch of military age men from Asia, crew cuts, clean clothes, waiting in a line at another bus. And I'm wondering, what the hell? If I went to downtown of my little city, hey, Mama Red, I went to downtown of my little city, throwing a backpack, like say my get home bag, and I walked and I calculated it out. It's about 12 miles. If I'm walking, not running, 3 miles an hour, so maybe 3, 4 hours. Let's say it takes two. I walk in the Texas warmth for 2 hours with a backpack. I'm going to look like butt when I get here. There's no way I'm going to walk across a country and have clean clothes and clean shoes and a nice haircut. There's something not right. And we've put them inside our police stations. We put them inside military bases and barracks, put them in National Guard armories. And I'll reiterate it, if I wanted to cause a big shitstorm, I would love to have anyone, even one person, inside a police station, a military base. Even if all that person does is set the police station on fire, that will absolutely screw up that precinct's response to anything that happens in that area. Red Dog, that's exactly right. And so who dropped them off? Where did they get the new gear from? Um, right, Red Leg, you're absolutely right. It depends on the terrain. But even so, like if you and I, on a nice day here in Texas, we go for a walk with our backpacks, we're going to be sweaty, we're going to be tired, our clothes aren't going to look great. And these guys are coming in pressed. That's got to bug you, right? That's got to be a red flag somehow. China's putting their operatives here. Yeah, we don't know. That's the problem. We don't know who's here. Especially put them on buses to our capital. Actually, Texas was doing that for a while. We were dropping them in front of the Kamala's house or down the block. The Secret Service stopped them, but they were just dumping them out in DC too. That's probably one of the most brilliant moves. Spanish Civil War, thank you. So the fifth column was the Spanish Civil War. Thanks, Cold War, for looking that up. So, folks, pay attention to the local area. Look for unusual changes. Look for, they did have police in New York City, and the FBI finally got around to running them out. So, age males that have crossed and border and can't be tracked. Yeah, you don't know where they are. Even if it's 1% of that number, 200, how insane is that? If 13 idiots who are not military trained, they just learned to fly a plane enough to crash it into a building and maybe make a truck bomb or two, um, could do what they did, how do you think, what do you think 200 properly trained people could do? How the Bosnian people had to endure and thrive or die during their civil war. Okay, I'm losing track of the chat here. Well, no, 200 could probably what? Take down, yeah, they could take down the grid. So, what do we do, right? And I don't like to fearmonger. I like to be pragmatic. So, what can folks like us do? Um, One, obviously, the food, the water, have some cash, the usual precautions one needs to be prepared for any emergency. But two, maintain your situational awareness with what's around you and know like-minded people. Again, the group I have out here is a lot of hunters, veterans, service members, technical people as well. Um, I got a pretty good group. I just had one of my colleagues who's also a prepper come to me and say, I finally got my bug out camp set up. He's in another part of Texas out in the forest. And he's like, his big thing now is like, now I feel like I have to duplicate because his bug out location is about 6 hours from where we are now. And he's like, so I got to, I got to have like gear there and gear here because I don't know where I'll be if something happens. So again, but we're trading these notes and we're trading these ideas. So, but oh, Canadian, I got some generator ready for when and put some fuel stabilizer in. Backyard's cleared. Yeah. Um, Pay attention to what's going on. Understand your local environment and get tuned in. If you have an emergency response email from your county or city, get on that mailing list just so you can see what's going on. Get the local news because the local news is a bit more unfiltered. Talk to people. Word of mouth was a phenomenal way of conveying information for generations. There's no reason we can't use it now. And most importantly, if you can help a neighbor, that's great because creating some goodwill in a bad environment can pay a lot of dividends. But be careful with the people who would be negative players, so to say. Smoke signals. You could use smoke signals, hell. Uh, But yeah, folks, the people are pissed. The New Yorkers are pissed. The California folks are pissed. When you have people shouting down congresswomen, when you have the attorney general of a city suing her own city because they're not doing their job, that's a good sign. My concern is it too little too late? Do we already have too much in country? This had been an actual alert, you would have been warned to tune 840, yeah. I can be anywhere and go there directly. See, that's a good way to look at it. If you're ready, or if you have a plan, hey, if something happens in city A, family comes to location B, and vice versa for my police precinct. And Mimi, if you know your local cops, they have a coffee with a cop event or a fundraiser. I don't have my charger in the building. I thought MMS was going to say if I suddenly disappeared, the aliens got me. Um, yeah, because everyone's had a snarky sense of humor this last 2 weeks, so it's been funny. Hope I'm at home and not at work. I'm fortunate in that everything I'm doing is within 2 hours of the house. My problem is if I have to walk in 108-degree heat, that's going to suck a lot. Um, I'll probably have to hunker down and wait till the sun goes down and then walk at night, which has its own challenges. Um, but aliens. But folks, pay attention to your local situation. Facebook groups with the cops, police scanners, anything you can, not to be creepy, but to understand what the hell's happening. Because things will happen at the local level before they happen at the national level. And even if you get an 8 hour head start or 24-hour head start that something's going on, that can be a huge difference between being ready and being in trouble. So, yes, Sheriff, get to know them as well. So, folks, I'm going to drop off here, but thanks for joining me. I know my schedule's been all over the map, and I appreciate all y'all's patience. Um, but be careful out there. And yeah, save a bottle for a bad day. You never know. We might need a drink before we fight the zombies. But be smart, be watchful with your money, be watchful with who you hang out with, and find those like-minded people. Because even if all you do is trade information, huge advantage over the general public. So you guys be good, be safe, be careful out there, and Joe's gonna have a fit. So we probably get a really good drunk story from Joe tomorrow morning. But guys, be careful, be good to each other, and take care of your loved ones. And I will see you later on, guys. Bye.